Yeah, I'm sure it's record. Hey, I still have my video on.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll start the if I to be my help to maybe share your are you sharing your screen, isn't it?
Just a moment. Let me do that now.
Yeah, help to share your screen. And let's hey the live thing. Jeez.
Doing that now.
Oh, my laptop is refusing to come on again.
Why is that?
Since 3 months old. I don't know what's wrong with these guys. My. And getting this to go live on YouTube, I need the laptop.
So you don't have one there?
It's not coming on. What's all this? Okay, I guess what we'll just do here is that this is recording anyway. At the end of the session, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just download. We won't be able to do the live thing, but just download this and then upload it to YouTube at the end of the session.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so everyone, welcome with me a very good friend and brother, Ifeoluwa Osakuade, is a PhD, is a doctoral candidate, he's been a startup founder, he's a teacher, he's a trainer. I mean, he's a coach as well. So he's a startup advisor. If you check out his Instagram, you know that we actually have a celebrity in the house today. So this man is not easy to catch, but we're excited that he's been able to give some time to help us teach us about research. I mean, where better do you want to learn about research from somebody who has both the academic research experience and the real whole place of understanding the markets and creating startups and things like that. So we'll be putting together all this is experience and training us today. Now, research analysis is so broad because you do research in every field and all that. We've tried to narrow it down to just look at some areas today. And even what we call narrowed down is still something that is still really, really broad. So I can imagine that it's going to be talking about a whole lot. So if you guys, how to help yourself is to make sure you're taking notes. Because if not, you might just have a lot of things flying past. Of course, you would have access to recording, you have access to the slides and to be able to go back again and you can rewatch it to learn more. And however, please, I'm sure you will just teach about an hour 15 to an hour 30, and then we can have like 30 minutes of questions. Get your questions ready. Whether you are in the research analysis track or not, especially for those in the internship program now, I mean, there are things you need to ask questions about because they would influence and affect all your deliverable that you'll be working on. So thank you very much, Ife, for doing this. And I'm here with my notes and my pen as well to learn. So over to you.
Thank you so much for that introduction. That was yeah, that was interesting to know that I'm a celebrity, and yeah, you guys should reach out to me on Instagram, on LinkedIn. You know, you can just search my name. My name is Ifeoluwa Shakwadi, and I'll be very much glad to connect with everyone outside this training. So today we'll be talking about research analysis. I guess you guys have been, you know, the training has been, you've been introduced to, you know, several part of the training. You've done maybe research design and so many other topics. But today we'll be talking on research analysis. And as the Daria said, it's actually a very broad topic. It's a very broad topic. I try my best to narrow it down a little bit. I merge both a little mix of academics and also, you know, breaking down to the types of research analysis I was given to talk about. But the focal point is to, you know, pay attention and, you know, listen and, you know, take notes as well, as I said. So let's get in. Before then, I would want to talk about my background. As I said, I'm a PhD candidate at the moment. My major area of expertise is finance. And yeah, I've been a startup founder as well in 2019. And yeah, I've got a little bit of experience about the startup ecosystem. So today is just a mix of both the research analysis in perspective of education, or say academics, and then looking at the startup ecosystem as well, and maybe generally, the other areas of finance. So let's kickstart. Just a moment. Yes. So research analysis. Research analysis is a study used to understand the current situation and to provide solution to occurring problems in a specific area of study. That is, we are trying to investigate, a particular area of study. Maybe we've identified a problem, and then we are trying to, provide solution to that particular problem. So the process of getting a solution is to research into the problem, through so many means. Sometimes we have to gather data. Sometimes we have to just do observations, carry out observations. Sometimes we would, for the purpose of this training, we would look into that more. But for the purpose of this, you can, define research analysis as a study used to understand the current situation and to, provide solution to an occurring problem. And then once you are able to gather data, once you are able to aggregate data and look into the data, and you are able to come to a conclusion about probably a solution to that problem. So as I said again, research analysis is very broad. There could be thousands of definitions for research analysis, but for the purpose of this training, we are going to be focusing on looking at problems, solution, data, and conclusion. So yeah, we have two types of research analysis, looking at the approach. Majorly, we have the quantitative and the qualitative research analysis. For the quantitative research analysis, this works with measuring variables. And when I talk about variables has to do with looking at some measures of a particular problem. So you're looking at the problems, you've come up with an hypothesis, and you've broken down the hypothesis into you've used so many metrics to measure the problems. So quantitative research focuses on using measurable variables to identify quantifiable results. Actually, most times you use mathematical systems and processes to look at quantitative research analysis. And the other part is the qualitative part of it, which is pretty much, there's not much of mathematical measurement when it comes to qualitative research analysis. You pretty much look into observations rather than measuring, you just observe information. There's no too much of calculations or using variables that would lead to mathematical equations for you to measure your analysis or say your problem. So in quantitative research, you focus on observation rather than measuring. And also in quantitative research analysis, you focus on the quality of the variables. So rather than you looking at the measurement in the previous research analysis, which is quantitative, in this qualitative, you focus on the quality of those variables and the data that you provide for that specific study. So now we want to look at the basic steps of research analysis. So this has to do with a little bit of academics, but could be applicable to other forms of research analysis. So why are we, so the first step is to develop a research question. So why are we doing that? We are developing a research question to be able to, understand more from a systematic approach by looking at the who, the what, the where, the when, the why, and the how. So it depends on how you look at it actually. Focusing on this particular area of research, you are trying to, measure who are the, maybe if you're trying to carry out a research, you're trying to measure who are the users of maybe your products, or say what are their specific area of interest, or where can you actually get your findings from, and when could be a specific time zone where you are supposed to carry out that research, and also why. So when you're looking at why could be why does your customer use your product rather than your competitor, right? So I'm just giving scenarios of why you need to develop a research question that would help you narrow down your research analysis into measurable steps. So after developing a research question, but for you to be able to come up with a very good research question, you must follow a SMART approach. And I've highlighted it here that SMART approach for developing a research question, it's an acronym actually, and the SMART means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So let's pick it one after the other. We have the specific research questions. This addresses what will be accomplished. So whilst you are developing your research questions, in your mind, you should be assuming that, okay, these are the potential findings you can actually get from your research, which boils down to you being specific. So for you to be able to look into what the probably solution or say result of your finding could be, you have to narrow down to specific research question and digging down into what exactly you are trying to achieve, not just coming up with a bogus question and you're not able to narrow down your questions actually. So specific is what will you actually accomplish in in your research analysis. Also, your M stands for measurable. What data will you measure to achieve the goal, right? That is how much and how well. So you're looking at the data. Is there availability of data in the particular area of study you are trying to look into? Aside from the availability of data, is it accessible? So it has to be accessible. So as a researcher, you need to, as a research analyst, you need to look into those data and be sure that aside from the availability of data, you are also being able to access those data. So the next thing is the achievable part of it. So is the goal you are setting doable? So whilst you are trying to carry out your research analysis, you have to look at the goals you're setting. Are they achievable? All of this is just helping you break down your for you to be able to develop a research question that is smart enough for you to come up with a very presentable research analysis. Right. So here also we have the relevant part of it, which has to do with how does your goal align with the broader goals. So whilst you are coming up with a research question, you must narrow down your goal and it must align to other bigger goals that you've set for that particular research analysis. Again, emphasizing on the time bound. For a research analysis to be carried out, you should the time frame for you to accomplish that goal. Is it achievable for you to you'll be given a specific time frame for you to be able to carry out that research. So you should definitely look into that as well while developing your research question. So again, just to recap, the first step is to develop a SMART research questions, and we've broken that down into specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant time bound. So the next step is the objective and goals. You need to set objectives and goals for your research analysis. And I've kind of mentioned that earlier on. So you have to look at the objectives of your research. What's the purpose? What is the main aim of you carrying out that research? So if you don't have a specific aim, then you're not able to actually come up with something valid that could be presentable for your analysis, like a unifiable or justifiable results for your analysis. So it's very important that you look into setting goals, objectives, aims for your research as you proceed. Again, after that, the next step is to look into hypothesis, so, or an educated guess. So whilst you look into research analysis, it's very important for you to break down your aims, your objectives, your goals into hypotheses. So now you are trying to look at the relationships between what you the set goals you have. So you're breaking that down and trying to see the comparative presentation of your educated guess. So those educated guesses could be from sources, could be from data, could be from assumptions of them, or collections of information from your customers, or from it could be from any sources actually. So now you want to look at the relationship between those objectives that you've actually set and see how measurable it is. Then the next step you have to look into is the tools to be used for gathering your data. Now you have to look at the approach as well of gathering your data. I've mentioned the approach earlier on. Do you want to look into qualitative or quantitative data collection? So it depends on the area of study actually. Some research analysis would require you to just focus on quantitative, because the area of study is pretty much focused on data collection and estimation of data. So I've mentioned what a data collection approach could be: quantitative and qualitative. Again, the next step is the actual data gathering. You must clean up your data. So whilst you've actually collected your data for analysis, for you to be able to carry out your research analysis, the data you've actually collected must be cleaned up. So because when you are doing a research and your data is just modeled up, there's potential possibilities for you to actually make mistakes in your analysis. So you must clean up your data, arrange them to be able to. So if you're using a particular tool, maybe SPSS, maybe eViews, maybe some other statistical analytic tools, if you don't clean up your data, your result will definitely will be useless actually. So it's very important that you focus on cleaning up your data whilst carrying out your research analysis. So the final one is, from your data, you're now able to come up with logical conclusions based on the result of your study. From your analysis, you draw out inferences, you postulate, and that maybe you can justify your hypotheses if they are correct or wrong. This is where you are able to, come up with, a body of knowledge, or say a fact that can be presentable to, making company decisions, investment decisions, financial decisions, business decisions, and the entirety of everything. So now let's look at it from the perspective of a research analyst. And I think this is the area you may be very much interested in. And so as a research analyst, we can categorize this into three. In the introduction of this training, I think it was categorized as four, but due to my perspective of it, I think equity research should fall under financial research. So let's get into it. We have marketing research analysis, operation research analysis, and then we have the financial research analysis. So let's pick it one after the other. Under marketing research analysis, we see that we use a systematic analysis of qualitative and quantitative data about issues around your marketing products, you marketing your products and services. So pretty much this is looking at you're understudying data which is related to your marketing, the marketing of your products and services. So you are using data to actually look at issues around customers actually. So you're helping customers you're helping your product to get to the best customer, or say you're helping customers, you're looking at where customers actually are interested in about your product. There's a lot of things around your marketing mix, your pricing, the entirety of your product. And this is just to look at how, the goal is to identify and assess how the changes in the elements of your marketing mix impact your customer behavior. So now you're looking at how, the data you've collected, the analysis you've done is affecting your customer behavior. So now you are trying to aggregate information about your customer behavior and using that to profile better marketing mix to improve your product. So under that, under marketing research analysis, it focuses on understanding customers. Then it could also focus on company. Then it could also focus on your environment. So looking at customers, who are your customers? Pretty much you have your purchasers, your consumers, and also influencers as well could be your potential customer as a business. Also looking at the company, marketing research analysis could also focus on the product design, how you mapped out your products, and also the promotion, the pricing, pretty much your marketing mix actually. So also marketing research analysis could focus on the environment as well, looking at your competitors. So you could be required to do like a market research analysis on your competitor, looking at their areas of strength, looking at their weaknesses, so that you can map your products to meet those gaps that your competitor has. So just to recap, marketing research analysis often focuses. Sorry, I think someone is trying to say something there. Can you hear me? Oh.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, good. All right. So just to recap, marketing research analysis focuses on three major aspects of business. So looking at your customers, looking at the company, and then the environment itself, looking at your competitors, and you being able to analyze your competitors so that you can meet the market needs at that particular point in time. So how do we, what are the marketing research analysis processes? The first thing is to identify the problem, right? If you can't identify a particular problem, then you'll not be able to carry out a marketing research analysis. So the first step is to look at identifying the problem, the major problem that you're trying to analyze, right? Then the next is to develop a research plan. So that has to do with your research analysis methods, those people that will be responsible for whatnot, or in your business. And also the next step is to conduct the research. So after developing the plan, then you look into the execution of conducting the research, like you executing carrying out the research, so to speak. So this has to do with you reviewing. It could be secondary data. So the secondary data, for example, when it comes to banks, you can be looking at annual reports. You can be looking at a large repository of data from, maybe stock exchange information. You could be looking at, pardon me, I'm using financial terms. That's my soft spot. And yeah, so pretty much you conduct that data, you conduct the research through reviewing your information, your data, you looking at primary data collection, and then looking at the suitable methods and technique for you to conduct your research. Then the other step is to analyze and report your findings. So after you conducting your market research analysis, you would analyze that. You analyze the information you are able to derive from there, and then put a structured report. One of the most important skill sets you need to develop as a market research analyst is the ability to analyze information and then report it. Many people have, many market research analysts actually focus on either the analysis part of it, and maybe they may be lacking behind when it comes to reporting. So there's a lot of arguments around that when it comes to market research, but we're not going to get into that. But the focal point here is, as a market research analyst, you are meant to be able to analyze and report what the findings you are able to gather from your research. And then from that research, you are able to take action. You are able to profile solutions to your customers, your clients. You are able to influence your business decision. You're able to, evaluate your options, and then, just take action actually when it comes to market research, using the information you've been able to get from your research. So yeah, the skills required for market research analysis. So if you're looking to become a market research analyst, these are very important skill sets you need to focus on, and to develop yourself. Many companies would, through the interviews and exams that's you go through before you actually get successful, in a company. Almost all of these skills will be tested in interviews, and it's very important actually to pay attention to interpersonal skills. This has to do with how you are able to relate, working within a team, and also very strong written and oral communication skills. So as a market research analyst, it's very important for you to be able to, present your findings. So take, for example, you did the research, you've collected your data, you've interpreted it, you've analyzed it, and you've come up with the report, and you're not able to, articulate what you've been able to find in your analysis, then you're lacking behind as a market research analyst, and probably you may not be successful, with a company, because all of these skills is required for being a market research analyst. Then your analytical skills and numerical skills is very important as well. You should be good with numbers and try your best. It's a skill that one actually develop over time, and as maybe for entry roles, you may not have that professional skills yet, but if you are intentional about becoming a market research analyst, it's very important technical skills and your numerical skills. This comes by even practicing. You just practice on your own, engage with friends. I'm saying this because of people that may be applying for entry roles, and be looking at how can I actually develop all of these skills. It comes with practice. Actually, you need to be able to practice to develop these skills. It doesn't just come maybe on the job. Yeah, you can actually grow, learn on the job, but before you get in, these skills will be tested to ensure that you're the best fit for the organization. So yeah, also the accuracy and attention to details is very important as a market research analyst, because a particular, if you don't pay attention to a particular body of knowledge, you could be missing out. So maybe from your data, you are not paid attention to the trends that occur in your data, and then because you're not accurate with your data and you're not paying attention to details, you missed a particular very important information. Take, for example, you're supposed to present to a customer, and you've analyzed data, you've analyzed, let's say in a company, not a customer. So you're supposed to analyze your competitor, you're supposed to analyze, information about your competitor, and you're missing a very critical, important information just because you didn't really pay attention to details. So then you're already missing out, actually. And then your analysis is flawed, right? So it's very important to pay attention to your accuracy and your attention to details. Also, the ability to use initiative. Sometimes, many times actually, when it comes to market research, you're expected to, understand the area of study, you're carrying out your research, and then being able to take initiative yourself without being instructed to do so, right, is actually a very important skill as well. Because of our time, I need to rush this. But for the purpose of reference, you can actually get access to this slide if you're interested in it. Also, your excellent organizational skills is very important. Your business awareness, I cannot stress this enough. Your business awareness is actually very important to become a successful market research analyst. Because if you're not aware about the business operations, or say the business area of your area of study, then you're not able to actually deduce information from data. You're not able to extract any form of knowledge from data. You're not able to make logical presentation and say these are your hypotheses about this business, about this competitor. that, okay, because company X, started during COVID-19, you want to analyze or say forecast. So if you don't really understand the area of business, or say you're not aware about the business operations that you're meant to analyze, then your analysis is actually flawed, and you will not become an excellent market research analyst. Also, your creativity and problem solving skills is very important. Your teamwork and negotiation skills also sometimes is required. Then the flexibility and drive. Then IT literacy, very important. You should pay attention to your digital skills, your ability to use so many tools, especially when it comes to analytical tools. Depending on the organization, you will be expected to have excellent IT skills, which is almost unavoidable in this generation, almost everywhere. Last week I was speaking with my supervisor, and what I'm doing is PhD in finance, and he said to me, you definitely need a programming skills. Like I need to take up a programming course, which is Python. And I never saw that coming, because I thought I was just doing PhD in finance, and all I'm doing is finance. But right now I'm learning Python, because I would definitely need that in coding some of my analysis. So it's very important to have IT literacy skills as well. Also, your interest in psychology and behavior is important in becoming a successful market research analyst. So the next is operation research analysis. So this focus on application of those tools I mentioned earlier on. Is really focused on analyzing analytical methods to help make better decision in a business, so to speak. So pretty much looking at how can we use analytical tools to be able to analyze information, and then being able to make better decisions in an organization. So as an operation research analyst, you would examine an organization's operation and use mathematical modeling, computer software, or any other analytical approach to find effective way of working. So if you're interested in being an operation research analyst, it's very important you pay attention to modeling, your mathematical modeling skills, which cannot be avoided when you're an operation research analyst, because you definitely have to reevaluate, the operations of an organization, and being able to extract information, data, and then analyze information for better decision making in the organization. So the organization is then able to use the information you developed, to also develop strategic policy making for the organization. So maybe you've done your analysis about the operations of a business, and you've seen that there's inefficiencies in some of the areas of the business, right? Through your analysis, then you can present your findings forward, and then the top organization of that business could use your resolutions to make better strategic policy decisions for that business. So let's look at the skills that is required to become an operation research analyst. The ability to identify and deploy appropriate advanced analytical techniques. So pretty much looking at not just the applicability of those tools, but very important techniques that is required for operation management actually. So depending on the organization, some organization uses so many tools for the analysis, and then it's very important to look into those tools. Maybe for reference sake, I would send a link to the group so that there's a drop down of tools that is required for either finance research analysis, for operations research analysis, and so many other analysis we've got here. There's a lot of tools that organizations use, but for the purpose of this research, for the purpose of this analysis, teaching and training is, I don't want to limit us to a particular one at the moment, but it's very important to look into that. But so let's proceed. The ability to turn raw mathematical data into meaningful information. So it's not just about you analyzing information. So it's just about being able to look at the trend that occurs in that data analysis, and then being able to draw out, meaningful information. Because if you just do a carry out analysis and you can't even like make a summary of what you think the trend of that data is showing, then that analysis is useless, is worthless. There's nothing you're able to derive from that, because you're expected to, as an operational research analyst, you're expected to look into data, then extract information, extract very useful information for your organization to make better decisions, strategic. Maybe it has to do with strategic policy making. It could be, how to work better effectively, the tools required for business operations to be effective and efficient. So as an operational research analyst, it's very important for you to be able to turn data into meaningful information, right? So this could be about, also creating insights, right? As an operational research analyst, you'll be required to create insights for organizations. So this is pretty much looking into data, looking into information, and then, coming up with knowledge from data, actually. So also, again, your interpersonal skills is very important, because you would need to explain a lot of solutions clearly, both technical and non-technical to on the audiences. So this has to do with your presentation skills. And then if you're not able to communicate and, engage with people, then it may be very difficult for you to, pass your, the result of your findings, make presentations of that to audiences. So it's very good to have interpersonal skills and communication skills as well, for you to work effectively as an operation research analyst. Also, to establish a rapport with colleagues and clients, very important skills. I've mentioned that earlier. And also the flexibility and ability to pick up new ideas, very important for an operation research analyst. It's, you being able to pick up new ideas is a strong area of strength for being an operation research analyst. Let's proceed. Then the next analysis we have is the financial research analysis. Here we have diverse area of research analysis. It could be investment research or equity research, credit and risk research, fixed income research, and then forex market research. There's a whole lot under financial research analysis, but for the purpose of this training, we'll be focusing on just these four. Financial research analysis focuses on examining and collecting and interpreting financial information. Is very easy to understand. Pretty much are focusing on financial information to help, the business or the company also make better informed decisions about the business. So this has to do with, financial analysis as well. So as a financial research analyst, you sometimes, well, it depends on the organization. If you're working with banks, financial institutions, depending on the organization you're working with, you're expected to have, a little bit of all of these areas of research as a financial research analyst, because all of these are subsets of finance. So take, for example, the investment and equity research analyst. You are meant to look at, viable investment. You're expected to research into, equity shares of companies, looking at, the trends of those performances of those equity. That is, it could be stocks, it could be bonds, and then you are expected to come up with resolutions about if the performance of this equity or investment is going to increase over time based on the data you've analyzed. So you are supposed to help investors make effective decisions on their investments. So maybe you took maybe Amazon as, for example, and you analyze the equity, and then you are able to justify based on trends, or depending on your investment strategy, you are able to justify that, okay, within this time frame, you expect this equity to increase in value based on information. During COVID, we saw how the equity, the shares of Zoom skyrocketed, after so many market information that it was not going to actually take place. But due to COVID, due to everybody, the future of work is online, and then people are communicating via Zoom and all of that platform. We saw that COVID actually impacted the share value of Zoom positively. Also, as a financial research analyst, you will be looking at credit and risk research analysis. This has to do with looking at the credit framework or credit risk management of framework of an organization, and trying to justify that the best way of raising finance, credit finance for an organization. So as a credit or risk research analyst, you're supposed to look at the credit risk framework of an organization, looking at how effective that is. Are we underestimating risks? Are we overestimating risk? Is there a loophole in our risk management systems that may, allow lenders or borrowers to impact our business negatively or positively? So that's pretty much your responsibility as a credit and risk research analyst, still under the financial research analysis. Also for fixed income research, pretty much still looking at fixed income research, trying to estimate the market and see the performance of some equity as well. This has to be equity research as well. Also looking at the forex market. Now you are trying to estimate the foreign exchange performances of countries. So, sorry, excuse me. Forex, pretty much you are researching, you're carrying out analysis on foreign exchange, actually looking at the value of dollar, the value of pounds, the value of naira over time, based on so many scenario analysis, maybe looking at information on political impact of on the foreign exchange, looking at so many information. So as a financial research analyst, you're expected to have like an overview of almost all of this breakdown. So as a financial research analyst, there's a lot expected from you to be able to be successful in that line, depending on your organization. So let's look at the skills that is required for financial research analysis. The first is being able to communicate, advanced communication and relationship skills. If sometimes you would come up with a body of knowledge in finance, and for you to be able to impact your company's decision, you definitely need to have relationship skills with some top management organization, because most times as a financial analyst, you are just actually below the ladder. So sometimes there could be query, there could be a school of thought that that says, okay, we need to review and always review your conclusions on a particular research. So, and so many times financial research analysts are always spot on with their research findings, but due to the fact that most people, the position is actually an entry role in a way, so it depends on the organization again. So it's expected of you to not just being able to communicate advanced, complex analysis. You are expected to also have relationship skills as well, so that when you have viable ideas, you have viable propositions, you are able to influence company management decision, which is one of those skills that is important for as a financial research analyst. Because if your company takes a financial decision that has a negative impact on the business, as a financial research analyst, that means you've not really done your job, because you're meant to actually have probably identify that in the business framework, and then suggest and ensure that your findings is being implemented if it's justifiable by data, by analysis, and trends actually. Also, your quantitative and qualitative analytical skills, very important. It could start from you being proficient in the easy to access tools, which could be Excel, it could be some data management systems. So also, again, the ability to create detailed earning models. So this has to do with your forecasting skills. So you'll be looking into stock rankings, you'll be looking into writing reports on equity, and then if you're not able to estimate, earnings, you may not be able to to become an excellent financial research analyst. Also, again, your diverse knowledge and experience in valuation methods. So you have to look at how businesses are being valued, right? There's a lot of valuation methodologies that financial analysts use. Also, you're significant proficient in financial modeling. So here you are looking at your estimation. You are looking at estimating the models for your investment portfolios. You'll be looking at a lot of issues around valuing equity, valuing. So all of this has to do with your financial modeling skills, right? So you're expected to be proficient in financial modeling. You could take online courses. There's a lot of online courses around financial modeling. This could also be a part of accounting, capex, your ratio analysis, all of that is in financial modeling. And then the ability to explain complex issues and present technical information clearly. So here you would, as a financial research analyst, you'll be dealing with a lot of complex issues, and your ability to communicate technical information in a clear way is a very good skills that you need to acquire as a financial research analyst. Again, your commercial awareness, very important. Your capacity to work independently, again, you using your initiative sometimes, very important as well. Then you would definitely, as a financial research analyst, there's a lot of pressure that will be up on you for you to come up with, reports. There'll be a lot of reports you need to generate. So definitely you need to be prepared for that as well. Also, your professional approach to work. So this has to do with your ethical behavior when it comes to company policies, maybe meeting clients, communication with clients. There's some kinds of, there's some structure of emails that you have to put in place to actually communicate to some maybe high net worth individuals, because you're dealing with investments, you're dealing with equities, you're dealing with stocks, you're dealing with fixed income. Potentially you would have like high net worth individuals that you will be communicating with. It's very important for you to develop a professional approach to work. Also, the confidence to relate to range of people and to challenge people when necessary. So if you identify some areas that you think you need, not that you know better, but due to your research, you are able to come up with a better school of thought, or say thesis or hypothesis. You should be able to challenge that, what maybe a presentation or something, because based on your research, you found that maybe you found something different, and you should be able to, challenge that when it comes to, sorry, excuse me. I think I need a little bit of water actually, but yeah, it's fine. So yes, you should be able to, challenge existing research for you to, be an excellent financial research analyst, because you'll be, over time, you'll be coming up with a new body of hypotheses. There's a lot of thesis that you have to, justify, and if you see some laxities in a research work, or say in a financial report, then you should be able to query that and ask for further information as a financial research analyst. Finally, we've come to the end of this session, so let's have questions now. I guess we have a lot of questions. I guess there's a lot of people here that want to become, financial research analyst, market research analyst, and maybe operational research analyst, and you've got some questions for me. So now I'll stop sharing my slide and look into the chat. Sorry, I've not been looking into the chat section. Okay, so we've got a lot of questions here.
Do you want to get water and then you come back to continue, or you're fine?
Oh, I think I'm fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because I can't imagine it because I'm always having water all around.
Oh, sorry, I didn't.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, there was a question. So there's been some interactions happening what's happening?
the chat.
In the chat, yeah. So, but there was one question that I kind of like left deliberately. So you to answer, then I can pick. There's one question that talks about, you can talk more about IT literacy skills for market research.
I'm trying to get that.
Question came from Victoria.
Victoria. Okay, so please, more examples on IT literacy skills for a market research analysis. So here you may be using a tool called eViews. So if you check out what eViews is, eViews is pretty much analyzing information. It's a market research tool. Well, it's not limited to market research, but most organizations use eViews to analyze information. Actually, that's the one I'm familiar with when it comes to some. Oh, you mean literacy skills? Yeah, IT literacy skills for market research. Absolutely, yes. You would need information around tools like eViews. Some uses some organization. Well, I think it depends on the organization, but I'm only familiar with eViews actually for market research analysis.
And one thing there I could just chip in is that for those of you who were like part of the growth marketing class, for instance, I was talking about some other tools. I can't even remember the name of any of those things now, but it's going to send the list of those. So these are, when you're doing like digital marketing, all those different things they use in tracking, click-through rates, and all those things like that. Yeah. So those are also things that you kind of want to be familiar with when understanding the marketing. The skills you need to use. Yeah. Someone is asking you eViews or Starter, which is better. Did you see that?
I think, well, so it depends on the.
That's now opinion.
Yeah. So now that depends on the quality of information you have, right? So if you're looking at complex mathematical, like econometrics information, right? If you're looking at information around econometrics, like there's a lot of economic data, there's a lot of very granular mathematical data that you've actually been able to aggregate over time. eViews is the best. But if you're looking at information about customers, that there's not much of complexity around your analysis, then I think Strata is the best for analysis for market research. Have I been able to answer your question? So it depends on the quality of information you actually have for your analysis.
You've got another one that says, when it comes to the literature review, what can you do when there is a gap in the literature and the data available is quite old, but the issue you're trying to resolve is a big issue?
Sorry, say that again.
Have you seen that question from Tendai?
Tendai, no, just a second. Oh, yeah, my question, when it comes to literature review, what can you do when there's a gap in the literature and the data available is quite old? But the issue you are trying to resolve is a big issue. Okay, so the first thing in this question is you identifying a gap in literature. So let me try to understand what you mean by a gap in literature. You've identified an area where there's a lot of research has gone out around a particular area, but you understand, you feel that maybe, take for example, people have done research about challenger banks, right? But they've not focused on their risk management area, or say the risk management of challenger banks. So there's a lot of information about customer value. There's a lot of information about how the growth or say market segmentation of challenger banks. But you've identified that no research work has been done around the risk management framework of challenger banks, right? So that is exactly what you mean by, there's a gap in the literature. Then, yes, the first thing why you are doing literature review is to review everybody's work, like you review what people have done in that particular area of study, and then you want to discover a gap. Actually, that's the major reason why you are doing a literature review. You want to be able to identify a gap. But well, it depends on the level of research. So take, for example, if it's a master's research, or say a PhD research, or say even corporate research, right? So you're trying to identify a gap. Maybe you're doing a research on your competitor. You're trying to identify maybe a particular neglected area. So the focal point of you doing a literature review is to identify a gap. So you want to show that you've done granular information, you've been able to aggregate, so many school of thought, and then being able to identify some gaps, and then being able to make contributions to those areas. Actually, that's the focal point. Then you said the data available is quite old. Then that's actually a major issue. So if that's a major issue if you're carrying out a recent research, right? Say, take for example, you are trying to look into COVID-19, right? And then the only information you have is maybe on financial crisis that happened in 2009, 2010, 2011, thereabout. Then there's a problem. Then you definitely not be able to use data you'll not be able to use quantitative data to estimate your information, right? So my advice is for you to look at qualitative data where you are able to, maybe collect, do surveys, do interviews, rather than you looking at old information to estimate COVID-19, whereas the data and information you have is probably about financial crisis. So it's a major issue. Some PhD researchers or some researchers actually have that major problem whilst they are carrying out their research. So it's advisable they look at how they can, diversify and look into other approach of collecting data. So in that scenario, you're expected to look into qualitative data by getting real life, say recent information for you to be able to, carry out your analysis.
I'm seeing a lot of yes in the chat window. Is somebody proposing to somebody there?
I think there's another question. For someone who is trying to become a self-taught in data analysis and research analysis, what can you suggest as a process for such a person to be considered qualified? Well, yeah, there's a lot of free available courses to take under data analysis. I think Dario will be able to give some of that. It is area of expertise is also data analysis, and yeah, he will be able to give you some information on that. However, when it comes to some tools, I'm not aware about the free tools that you may use. Most of these tools are paid for. Take for example, eViews. I tried actually downloading that even Strata on my laptop individually, but I wasn't able to get through because you need to subscribe. And one major advantage is university actually subscribe on our behalf. So all we have to do is just log in, right, and download the app via using our university email. So most of these analytical tools are not free, actually. Well, those ones I know about, but you could well, it depends on the kind of research you're doing, and you could look into that more. When it comes to the for you to be qualified as a data analyst, I think Dario will be able to give better advice on that.
Okay, so in terms of being qualified as a data analyst is a relative term, because it's not like becoming a doctor that there's some standardized thing that everybody has to become in the world. It depends on which organization you want to work with. What are they looking for? So some organization as a data analyst, they just expect you to be able to use Power BI, and that's it. So if you are able to use Power BI and good at it, that's good enough for you. In some places, they expect Power BI, Tableau, Python, R, and everything in between. So that means you need to be familiar with a number of those tools. However, many of those tools, the knowledge is transferable. And like Ifeoluwa said, many of these things, you just have to pay for them. Although some of them have like, what do you call it?
Free trial.
A free trial for like 14 days or 1 month. So you might, if you put some concentrated efforts, maybe able to learn some stuff for free. Tableau, for instance, I think Tableau has a free version that you can even use continuously. But I think there was a time I worked on it, and that the free one, I couldn't really get around it. I think it's just too complex. So it's like the trial version is something that you can just work with and just leave. When I did mine, when I used it as well, it was for a master's program, and I got like the school subscribing for it when I pretty much worked on Tableau. So you can use the free version to learn some of those things. Power BI as well too. So if I would advise on picking a particular tool to learn, it will be try to check wherever you are trying to apply for work, the companies in that area, what tool are they asking for? So that's why I always advise that if you're looking for a particular type of job, before you even start applying for that job, read as many job descriptions as possible within your geographical environment or whatever country you want to apply in, and find what is the trend, what are they asking for. So that's the one that you should prioritize in learning. And yeah, like in terms of the courses, someone already responded there that you can actually take there are a lot of online courses on Coursera that you can take. There is EDX, where you can take courses as well too. There is another one these days that's becoming very popular now called
R.
No, I'm talking about the sites where you can learn the content from.
Okay.
There's this
Even
thing
on LinkedIn.
you don't have the tab open on it here. It's very futurelearn.com. They have a lot of materials on that place as well. So most of those materials are from university. Allison as well. Got a bit bored. Allison, I don't know if they've changed now, but there's a time where they used to put so much adverts in between the course that you're learning, and that was just too terrible user experience. But they have good content anyway. Yeah, like Ife was saying, that reminds me, what you mentioned, Ife, R.
Yeah.
I don't think there's no payment at all that you do for R. You just need to download the, what do they call it, Programmers in the House, IDE or something like that, where you download the tool to use in writing the code. The same thing with Python as well, too. You don't need to pay for it. You just need to download the thing. I think there's one of the IDE for Python, it's called Anaconda, I think, where you download and you can create the environment and write your code and things like that. There's a question I think we missed. If there was somebody asking about SPSS, can it be a good tool like Python and R? Well, that's not a very direct comparison because I've not used SPSS so much. I don't know if you have.
Yes, I have actually.
Is there any elements of programming in SPSS?
No, so everything is just methodical. So all you have to do is just follow methods. Click on this. Click to do maybe a T analysis. You click on this, and there's not much of programming that is required for SPSS. So, all of this statistical analysis, it depends on the kind of information you have and the result you are trying to achieve. So if you're looking more of say you're trying to look at equities of companies, then yes, SPSS could be a very useful tool to use for equities. Like you want to look at the share prices of stocks and all of that, and you want to be able to justify your investment strategy. Then yes, SPSS could be a better statistical analysis to use actually.
Yeah. So, okay. Whereas Python and R are pretty much programming. They're a bit more expensive and maybe more technical, if I would say. There was a question also that talks about operations research seems to cut across all other types of research analysis. How do I really concentrate on operations research analysis wholly? You probably need to ask your career counselor.
Well, it depends on the organization as well. So, unfortunately, operational research has to do with a lot. Actually, there's a lot you have to do. It's like the holistic view of research, right? So, I don't think you will be the only reason why you'll be able to concentrate on a particular aspect of it is the peculiarity of your company, right? Or say the purpose of your research. That's when you are able to narrow down and say, this is the area of the kind of analysis you want to be looking at, right? But it may be plausible to know the exact, let's know more about that question. Who posed the question actually? Let's see.
And the thing about it is that sometimes companies it's not in every case that a company will tell you they're looking for an operations research analyst or market research. Sometimes you just tell you they look for a research analyst. And because the skills in all of this is pretty much transferable, is understanding what are we looking for. Just like if I explained at the beginning, when you're talking about the why of your research and things like that, what are we looking for? Where can we find the data? And what insights do we look to extract from this data? And then writing the report. So it's pretty much the same flow, understanding how to understand what the research question, find the right data, analyze them, get the insights, write the reports, any type of research at all. So it's just now about understanding the technical thing. And sometimes even operations research analyst in one industry is different from another industry.
Exactly.
You need to understand the technical terminologies that vary from industry to industry.
Say, for example, a pharmaceutical company now will be different from, say, hospitality, right? Just looking at that. So that will be focused on so many other things. And even the statistical analytical tools that you'll be required to use is kind of different.
Yeah, and one thing, when it even comes to operations, there's this role, if you Google it, sometimes you can find some job description around it, called sales operations. So it's a bit like a mix of blending market research and operations research, sort of, because in sales operations, you'll be doing research about the external markets, you'll be doing research around the company's markets, that is the users, the customers, and everything. You'll be doing research on the data that they have, and you'll also be looking for areas of improving efficiencies internally within the organization. That is now speaking to operations anyway. So this person that even talked about Coursera earlier was actually asking a question concerning Coursera, if there are any good courses there that can help data analysis or business analysis.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of courses on Coursera. I think the person is specific about the certificate. So what do you think about Coursera certificate and the courses? Do you think can make a good line for? Yeah, absolutely. So I think you're particular about the certificates. Coursera certificates, could be useful. It's showing that you've done something. However, I'm trying to look at how recognized it is. I think from an employer's perspective, it may not be that recognized, but it's just showing that you've done something and you've achieved the result, right? So for the free version of it, yes, one can, I think some of the courses are actually free, but to get a certificate is about maybe $12 or something. So about the certificates, there's a little bit of, to be honest, there's a little bit of, I'm not sure about that, but it depends on, where you're applying to. So if you're applying to top companies, that may not be too much recognized, but, it depends on how you look at it actually.
Because at the end of the day, employers just want people who can show that they can do the work.
Yes,
not
exactly.
people who say they've done the training. So is there any proof that you can actually do this work? So the certificate might convince some people, like if I say it is a bit of a 50-50 thing, to say, okay, yeah, that means you've learned it. But in some cases, they want to ask you, what projects have you worked on? So more what's the word now? More important when you do any online training or even this training right here is using what you've learned to do something. If are you there?
I have to check. It looks like they're locking the school already. So
okay. Okay. So if someone is asking you about your own journey towards becoming a research analyst.
So for you to become a research analyst,
sorry, your own journey.
Say that again.
They're asking specifically about your own journey towards becoming a research analyst.
Wow. My own journey,
guys.
I'm a
Yeah,
I'm a PhD researcher. I'm not fully a research analyst, right? So as much as I'm doing my research around challenger banks and looking at their risk framework, as I've given the example, I'm not really looking at like I'm not working for an organization, so to speak. I'm doing an independent research, which is PhD research, trying to look at a particular topic and breaking it down, looking at my research questions and all of that. But for you to really become a research analyst, I think you would, almost all of those skill sets I've highlighted before would be required to, so depending on your areas of research, it could be finance, market, and, equity, depending on those areas, all of those skills will be required. Your ability to pay attention to details is very important, because if you miss a body of knowledge, then you're missing out already. You're not able to come up with, you're missing, your conclusion is flawed, right? If you're missing out information and ability to use data, like I need to emphasize more on you being able to extract information from data. Is very important as a research analyst. So make what your core area of competence should be, being able to collect data, being able to analyze it, but very importantly, being able to extract information. So looking at trends, what's this saying? Because is your conclusion that you're trying to present your information to maybe your organization, say you're trying to come up with a new body of knowledge, is the final findings that is actually very important, right? As much as other areas are important as well, but if you're not able to come up with a logical conclusion and justifiable reasons for saying this is why this is so, right? Then the entire purpose of your research is flawed. So being able to extract information, insights from data, and being able to come up with a logical conclusion is a very important skills you would require as a research analyst. Any other question? If I was doing any,
someone asking about R and econometrics. Is R a very good tool for econometrics?
I've not really used R, but I'm just familiar with Strata and eViews and SPSS for now. I don't know much about R, to be honest. I've not really used it.
And when I did econometrics in university, we only did calculation on biro and paper.
Oh, so, God. Oh my God, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good at all.
I've used R. I mean, I've learned R. I don't think I've used it on any projects, but I've learned it. And if I can still remember what I did in my econometrics in uni, clearly, it's pretty much about regression analysis and the rest. And these are things that you do clearly on R. These are things that you do clearly on Python. Yeah. So it's not about one tool being better than the other one most times. It's about which tool are you familiar with. Some of them might be easier to learn than the other, but it's about which tool are you familiar with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, heteroscedasticity. Yes, that's the word. I remember that word, doing econometrics. Very, very, very complex calculation, to be honest. My first 2 weeks of econometrics, because we broke down econometrics into two. We did the elementary econometrics, then we did advanced econometrics, because I'm focused on financial modeling. Yeah, I did a master's in international banking and finance, and it's expected of you to, to be vast when it comes to advanced econometrics. So we did a lot on that, homoskedasticity. Even my professor can actually pronounce that thing in class. Yeah, and the likes. Strata is actually very, Strata is a very good tool for econometrics as well. Yeah, I've used Strata a couple of times, and the results they generate, sometimes it's more explanatory, right? You are able to pinpoint, okay, R square, you're able to pinpoint, all of those variables from the result generated from your analysis using Strata. And yeah.
And Baladeli Samuel gave a very good comment there around data analysis being a very broad field and business intelligence being one of it. And that brings me to say something. further about a question that someone asked earlier between research analysis and data analysis. So the thing about it is that sometimes it depends on how organization is naming these things, because different organizations call roles differently. Yeah. So however, on normally, the data and research analysis is broad in its own, data analysis is broad in its own. And the thing is that, but within the context of research, sometimes the person who is the research analyst is leading the conversation, because you're the one that know what you're looking for and all of that. The data analyst in that context might be working more as the technical expert who is pretty much sitting down and doing the R and all that. A research analyst might be a research analyst and not know how to actually use R and Python by themselves. They could have a data analyst that they work with. Yeah, that is also one occurrence. The data analyst is the technical guy running all the data. The research person is the one ensuring, are we asking the right questions? Are we creating the questionnaires correctly? Do we have the right data sources and all those things like that, where the data analyst is being a technical expert. However, beyond just the term data analysis itself, sometimes, yeah, it's beyond just analyzing data. In terms of, it's beyond just analytics of data. There is data modeling as part of data analysis as well. So depending on which context you're working on it. So the data modeling is when you actually, some of the guys in business analysis will be doing some work on data modeling and the rest. So some of all these things, they are intertwined as well too, you get, so they are related. For instance, for me in my career, even though mostly I've called my role a business analyst role extensively, but I've done almost everything. I've done research analysis, I've done data analysis, I've done data modeling, business intelligence, I've done that. I've been a project manager, I've been the product owner, I've been this and this and all that. So all those things are pretty much really related. And that's why sometimes, so there's a material I could share with some of you. There's this, I can't remember what their name is called now. There's this organization that does some kind of certification in data analysis, and they have this certification, I can't remember their name, but there's this thing called CDMP, that is it Certified Data Management Professional, something like that. So I got this material from them, and so robust, that talks about a lot of different aspects of data beyond just, because sometimes when you talk about a data analyst, some people just think, oh, I'm not good at Python, I'm a data analyst. It's beyond just knowing the tool. It's just like a doctor saying, or a nurse saying, I now know how to inject somebody, I'm now a nurse. There are so many things you need to learn. Why are you injecting? What are you putting into the injection, into the syringe, and all those things like that. So it's beyond just learning how to use the tool. You need to be able to understand what data itself. You need to be able to modeling your data, building a model for what you're trying to run as well. So there's a lot around all these things. But the truth is, you can't spread yourself thin. You need to have expertise in a particular direction. And the advice, especially you're looking for work and all that, the advice is pretty much, what is the skill that is in demand in your environment? That is what you should zoom into and focus on. And like I've said earlier, how do you find that? Go online, check for job descriptions. Don't just apply, copy and paste those job descriptions, read all of them. What is the trend that is common in all of these guys? Then you focus on that, learn the tool, learn the place of understanding the data. You know, a lot of things you'll even learn when you're trying to be a data analyst, the whole place around preparing your data, data mining, everything around it like that. So, but within the context of research, the research analyst is thinking more broadly beyond just the data itself. Like Ife started very rightly at the beginning, telling us about why are you doing the research, setting your research questions and all those things like that. You need to know what you're looking for. How do you want to present it? Who are your audience that you want to present to? So a research analyst can do a lot of research, and the result is just one slide that is an infographics that just gives us the most important message. Another person will run a research project and give you a 50-page report telling you insights, comparing this and that, and all those things like that. So it starts from understanding what is in demand and try to focus and learn on learning that particular tool. The guys with us in the internship program, there are the research analysis be their exact stuff that you'll be working around this, because when you think in market research, you think the industry. So if you start a bakery, for instance, now, if you want to do your market research, you want to understand the whole baking industry, even beyond bread, baking biscuits and every other thing like that is part of market research. Then the place of understanding your company itself, the data of the company itself, your own market itself. There's also the bit around that for your research. So the guys on the research analysis track, you'll be doing some bit of work on research analysis, some bit of work on data analysis as well. The same thing for business analysis. It's a bit of business analysis and a bit of data analysis as well. The same thing with growth marketing. As a matter of fact, I think we're all data analysts in this world today, because we all have to do with data. We all have to deal with data one way or the other.
You can't avoid it. It's unavoidable.
Yeah. So the guys in the growth marketing class, you talked about all the different data, the dashboard you need to have. You're also doing some data analysis work in growth marketing as well. Product design, you would analyze data. Service design, you would analyze data. Project manager, you would analyze data. So it's getting to that point gradually where everybody just needs to know it. Do we have any other questions? Ife is about to run away.
I need to run away at the moment.
Okay, if that's it, thank you very much, Ife. We'll get the slides, we'll get the recording shared across to those who missed it and all that. And if there are any other questions, again, people can connect with you. How can they connect with you? You want to maybe drop in the comment section, maybe your Instagram and maybe your LinkedIn. It looks as if you're more active on Instagram.
Yeah, that's my Instagram. And my LinkedIn is just my name.
I'm not sure we're seeing anything though.
Oh, I'm sending it to someone else. Sorry. I'm sending it privately. I was chatting with someone privately.
Okay, is there any other question from anyone else? Bolade Samuel, the way you talked about Python and R and MATLAB and the rest, it looks as if you know how to use all those tools. Please come out and confess now so that some people can come grab your leg to learn from you. Which tool they need to learn from you? Babajide, are you talking or typing? Oh, sorry, it's Bola Dale Samuel. Samuel, are you there? You want to let, he's not responding. Intermediate level. Okay, yeah, at least intermediate level. You can help those who are in is it foundational level or basic level? So yeah, so intermediate level of what? Of all those three tools.
Wow, that's great. If you have intermediate level knowledge of that.
Yeah, so if you have intermediate level of those tools, so you guys, you can connect with what's it called? Bola Dale to talk about. There's something on. Ife has also shared the link to us on LinkedIn Learning, where you can learn Python. LinkedIn Learning is also a very good platform as well to learn some of these tools. So at least they even give you 1 month free access to all their materials. Then you learn from there. As you begin to enjoy it, you can continue the monthly membership thing, and monthly membership that give you access to everything, which is about, I think, £24 or something. So okay, so any other questions?
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, if there is no other question, we can draw because we have some time. I think this was scheduled for like 2 hours or something. That is very good, because I know I've dropped some things on Slack for the guys in the internship program today, and some of you have questions. So maybe we can let Ife go now, so he doesn't get locked in the office.
Yeah.
And so we can chat about some of all those things within the next, I don't know, 20 minutes. So yeah, oh, someone asked something about 1 minute. Isra, what do you want to say? Do you want to say it now? I think someone needs you before you go, Ife.
Okay.
Isra, are you talking or typing? You guys should be fast. Why did he say 1 minute?
Or maybe, I don't know. Okay.
I'm asking about research internship.
Okay.
if I want to doing a research internship in research center or with a professor in university, if I want to work in any project with any professor in economic or finance, what about my CV? Do I need experience in research or something like this?
Yes. So in academics, and if you want to work in academics as a research analyst, right? Is that the question you asked, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the standard of the university. For you to become a research analyst, you would need a PhD actually. So some top organizations would require a PhD, or you are concluding your PhD to become a research analyst.
So before PhD, I can't doing any internship in research analysis in any university.
Well, I'm not aware about any research internship.
To be specific, like we having an internship program, Erasmus internship program in our university. So I want to apply for internship after finishing my master. So I'm thinking about that. Maybe I can doing researchship in internship in research center or sending email for any professor to work with them or something like this. So for that, I'm asking what the thing can make any professor like got interest in my CV or something like this.
Oh yes.
So do you want to talk about opportunities on studentship with her as well? So I don't know how that one works.
Exactly. So the first thing, let me just address your question directly, right? So in that light, I think I know about Erasmus. Erasmus is, the cross country internship opportunities among Europeans and all of that. Yes, I'm very much familiar about Erasmus, and yes, that would that may make a lot of sense. Actually, it's a good opportunity for someone concluding a master's. So if it's an internship, so that would be limited. I doubt if you'll be working with a professor though, because majorly if you're working as a research analyst, not an internship position, you would require a PhD to really work with a professor. But the other outlook where Dari was talking about is studentship. So when it comes to studentship is an arrangement of you researching on a particular topic. So there's a framework of a topic where the university put out for application. So it's a funded program for research analysts, yeah, right? Or say researchers or PhD researchers. The course is converted to PhD research, and there's a particular topic that you'll be expected to research on, right? And that may be another opportunity for you to look into, like Googling, just checking, studentship opportunities in area of finance or economics. That would be very much useful for you, after finishing your master's. So that in itself, there's a structure already made by the university. There's a research question that you're expected to look into. They've already put the aims that you are supposed to look into. Maybe it depends on your area of study. Maybe it's finance. Maybe you may be expected to research around risk management. Maybe expected to research around equity, or say financial regulation. They will have a specific topic, so you're not expected to come up with those things yourself, because there's a need that is expected. The university has discovered that gap already in the body of knowledge in that particular area of field, and they want to specialize in it and come up with a body of knowledge. So they put out studentship opportunities for people to apply, right? So talking about the skills that is required in your CV. For you to apply for that Erasmus, yes, I think some level of experience it doesn't have to be focused on that area of research. It could be it doesn't have to be research analyst role that you've actually previously worked, but you can, because I guess for you to ask that question, you probably don't have much experience in research. So you can start, tweaking your dissertation, probably from your undergraduate level, your master's level, your dissertation that maybe you had a distinction. That could be something you can put in your CV to, inspire the professor to, okay, this person understands your area of research. That was what I used to, capture my own professor as well at the moment. Yeah. So, okay, you wanted to say something?
I want to say, can I put it like ongoing research or something like this in my CV?
Yeah, absolutely. And even if it's marked or if it's estimated grade, you can something just to twist it up and make it very interesting for the reader to be interested in even inviting you. It doesn't have to be like you get all those opportunities, but just to get you to the table, right? And then you are able to, communicate well, show them you have analytical skills, you have previous experience using some statistical analytical tools. So all of those can be very interesting to a professor to say, okay, yeah, I'm ready to work with you on that.
The last thing, as I asked it before, I took many courses in Coursera about data analysis and something like this. If I will add it to my CV, it will be a good idea or something like this for the position.
Yeah, absolutely. Why the purpose of you having that certificate is to, present maybe in interviews and all of that. But before you can be able to get opportunity to do interviews, you must show on your CV that you've actually taken those courses, you've achieved that, you finished it, you were successfully, you were successful with maybe there's a test or an exam that you were meant to write, and then you were awarded a certificate. As much as I said earlier, it depends on where you're applying to. The ranking or the expectations of the reviewer may be very high or depending, but you've already shown that you've taken that course, and then you're not an expert yet because you've not really practicalized it, but you've taken the course, you have understanding of those tools, right? So I think it's something worth putting on your CV as well, something somewhere very conspicuous on your CV, right? Depending on the template you use. I think that would be very much useful, actually.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Right. Any other question? No. So, okay, Isra, I believe you can also connect with Ife with what he has put out earlier, and maybe you need more help to look at your CV and get some advice. I know it's very busy, but I'm sure you'll be happy to help.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing for ending lecture, I can't believe I found this opportunity. So just let me talk the last question.
Okay.
About I'm doing my master now, and this is my last year. So I'm thinking about the PhD research and PhD program. Do you think if I will take another master to, how could I say, to take more knowledge before PhD, is it be good idea, or just continue to apply for PhD after this master?
Well, I think it depends on your area of interest. So if you've developed interest in research, like, academic research, I would advise you to go straight for your PhD. As much as, with the mindset that even during your PhD, you can also still take internships, right?
Yes.
So yeah, you can definitely take internships, but I would advise, if you've developed interest in, you coming up with a body of knowledge, you're very interested in, academic research, I would advise you to go straight for your PhD, whilst, also building your level of experience during your PhD. Maybe you intern, there's opportunities for internship during PhDs, right? During holidays, you can take, a few weeks away and take, maybe work with, depending on your, maybe Google, or, depending on your area of interest.
So if I want to really go to a strong university for a good PhD program in economics, so which thing you advise me to do it?
Isra,
I really want to go to good university.
I think
Isra, this is
personally.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, please. If you can reach out to me personally, I'll be able to answer all your questions. Reach out to me on LinkedIn,
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
all right. Thank you very much, everybody. There was a question about business analysis earlier. Guys, tomorrow is the class on business analysis. I know Leaf, Chidiebere, yeah, I can pronounce that one. Chidiebere, tomorrow's class on business analysis. We'll be having a class on fundamental on business analysis. A friend of mine as well too is taking that class. So he's done a whole lot of training on business analysis. So he's going to be able to come with a lot of stuff as well to share with us. What's the fundamental bit? What are the different deliverables that you'll be asked to do as a business analyst? What is the environment that you work? What are the different roles that you work in business analysis as well too? So, I mean, as some extra materials at some point, I'll probably also be sharing. There's a class I have personally done on business analysis. There's an introductory session for about 2-3 hours. I could share that link as well, but not after tomorrow's class, because tomorrow's class provides a lot of that foundation and all that. That my class was a bit of a crash course, really. So this would lay that foundation, give you some insights and a lot of all those things like that. So don't miss the class tomorrow. I tell you, it's also going to be an exciting one. I'm sure that those who have made it a decision to attend every class, regardless of the track that they choose at the beginning, I'm sure they've not regretted it, because you'll just have to learn something new from all of these sessions. Some of you came in for a different track. By the time you attend other classes, you're like, oh no, this is the one I really want and all that. So I would encourage you attend these things. And if you miss them, get on YouTube for the replay of this, for the recording, sorry, and you can play it and learn a lot of all those things like that. So and as everyone who comes around to teach, they are very happy to help. So if you have further questions as well too, you can chase them down after the call. So let's not spoil the fun. Let's wait for tomorrow's class on business analysis.
Yep.
Yay. Yep. Okay, thank you very much. I would say this is the end of the class in terms of training for today, but thank you very much, Ife. We really appreciate your time with us. Yeah, so very good. Have a safe journey home.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so now we're closing the training. So I'm just expecting that people that will be staying back on this call will just be guys that are on the internship program. Maybe they have questions based on what we've talked about in terms of deliverables for this week. So if you're not part of the internship program, I mean, you might want to drop from the call, because some of the things we'll be talking about might be sounding too strange to you. Okay, so any question? If there's no question, that's also fantastic. That could mean I could go back to watching the movie. Thank you very much, Isra.
Wait, question. You said our task for this week is creating a competitive
Lucia, what did you say?
On what? You said our task for this week is creating a competitive analysis. I'm asking if it's an analysis on what?
So yeah, so pretty much what that is going to be is that that task is to make you ask a lot of questions, really, because first, before you do a competitive analysis, you need to even know what exactly you are trying to compare with. So that is pretty much to say the solution we are trying to work on, that we're trying to deliver, what are the other similar solutions out there? And then you try to compare them and say, what is this, what's the strength of this one? But because the project managers and the business analysts and the product designers have not told us exactly how the solution is going to look, I was supposed to stop recording at this point. So we don't mix the whole thing up. Let me stop recording.